Crystal of Atlan can be a really easy game at the start, but when you start heading over to the harder content, for example elite raids, you start realizing you do need all the help you can get, and that's where food buffs come into play, and not a lot of people have been using their food buffs correctly. I decided to make this video to show you guys a couple of things I know about food buffs, and I'm gonna help you buff up so that you can actually do really good damage and you can survive and get all this utility you can get within food buffs in the game. So let's talk about cooking and how you get your food buff, right? So cooking is basically like a life skill. You need to get your recipe so that you can start crafting these food buffs. The means of getting these recipes can be a little bit annoying, to be honest, but this is basically a life skill in the game. It is very shallow, nothing too complicated about it. Yeah, but this is where you can craft your food buffs, and I'll show you where to get some of these recipes. In order for you to start unlocking some of these recipes, you want to head over to Rhine City. So Rhine City is the one in the middle here. So just click Rhine City, it's going to teleport you and you're going to end up on this teleporter over here. So the first few recipes you're going to get is immediately on the left. You should find the NPC Edmund. So Edmund is a collector. You want to come and redeem some of your cards here, and for every card for each region there will be a recipe here. So you'll see your base HP recipe on that, Dark Light, you'll have your attack recipe, Mechanical, Restoration, Life card, and Fire card. To acquire these cards that are needed to unlock these recipes, you need to do some bit of exploration. If there's a currency you need, you can click the currency, click the two arrows, and then you're gonna see the source. So for example, this you can do the Blackstreet exploration, right? Blackstreet exploration is you wanna head over to one of these gates, right? The exploration zone. And in here, you should see some glowing things on the ground, and you can interact with those, and that should award you with one card. You should be able to find something like a shiny node in the corner or hidden somewhere around here. So these are what you're going to be interacting with, and they're going to award you the card. So just go through the exploration zone and search for a couple of them. I do not think they respawn, so I think it's a one-time collection thing. But the moment you get enough, you can go and redeem them to get the recipe that you need. The next recipes you can unlock are coming from exploration again. So you want to be completing your exploration progress down here, and the more stars you're getting, the more you start going down this tree, and then you start getting these better rewards. And at around 60 and above, like 60 and then 100, you start getting these recipes that will give you the element of food. So this is the one that transforms your damage into a particular element if you are using like neutral damage, right? And this is where you're going to get the recipe. This is a little annoying to get because you have to do all of this exploration stuff, which I do not enjoy at all, so I don't really do this. And this is where you get the recipe for this. Now with that out of the way, if you are like me and do not care at all about exploration, do not care at all about cooking, do not worry, there's a way to get food buffs, and that is from our best merchant in the game, Gurad. So Gurad sells the best food in the game in a weekly limit, and this is where you're gonna get all the food buffs that you need. However, before I show you what he has on the menu, let me talk about all the different types of foods and what they actually mean, right? So food is separated into 6 categories. So the first category is your assault food. This is where you're gonna get things like your physical attack, magical attack, your crit chance, your attack speed, and your skill damage buffs. And then you have protection food. So protection food is gonna give you your physical defense and magical defense, some base HP increase, and things like the attribute resistance. And then you have your restoration food buffs. So this will be things like healing per second, right? Like give you like 2% healing for 10 seconds, right? And then like 20% HP heal as well. And then you have your elemental food buffs. These are the ones that convert all your neutral damage to a particular element that you want. And then you'll have another category called blessing. So blessing, at the moment that I know of, is only a movement speed buff. That's a completely different category. And the last category is not really a food buff, it's an elixir. And those are in the category called legendary. Those are legendary category. The elixirs, I'm going to explain, I'm going to show you them in a little bit. The thing about this is you can stack all of this food buff as long as they're in different categories. So you can have one assault, 1 protection, 1 restoration, 1 elemental, 1 blessing, and 1 legendary. They all stack, so you can make like a rotation out of it. For Gorad, he has one of the best food buffs here that you may need. For protection, you get your physical defense, magical defense to 8%. You can craft this yourself, or you can just come in and buy it for 2 coins. You have a weekly limit. However, the thing about food buffs is you're really only using food buffs for raids. There's no other content in the game at the moment is hard enough that you actually want to use food buffs. And the thing about food buffs is they run out the moment you leave the instance. So if you pop a food buff and then go into an Abyssal Purgatory, which will end in 18 seconds, you just wasted 29 minutes and like 50 seconds of that food buff. Because the moment you leave the dungeon or the moment you restart the dungeon, you do lose that food buffs. So this is something only for hard content. Maybe something like Mine Wars, maybe something like Hex Chess. Those are the things you're gonna be using your food buffs on. So I'm just gonna give you like one of each, and which is like the better option of each. So when it comes to protection, the best buff here is probably going to be the physical defense and the magical defense by 8%. There is the healing one that gives you HP, base HP by 8%. Personal preference. If you like the HP, take the report rise. If you like the skewers, take the one that gives you physical defense, take this. However, you can only use one at a time. So just pick your poison and then buy only that one. Don't buy both because you're not going to use them both, right? So just buy one and stick with that one. When it comes to your assault food, one will give you physical attack and magical attack. This is one I use most of the time. It's actually pretty good. You have another one that gives you crit chance, that is the noodles, will give you crit chance or physical attack or magical crit chance. It works for both. The ball down here, it gives you attack speed. There is no cooldown one, so I don't know why there's no cooldown food, but this one gives you attack speed if you need attack speed on your class. And then this one, where is it? This one will give you skill damage. But the physical attack is the one, you can never go wrong with the physical attack 8% at any time. So this is the one I use most of the time as my assault food. When it comes to restoration, I always use the pizza. You have either the pizza or the bread. So the bread gives you 20% HP for but it's like per second for 10 seconds, right? So 20% total. But the pizza gives you 20% but an extra 5k. And this one can also be used in PvP. You can use this in the 3v3 matches if you want to. So since you can only choose one, I always take the pizza, and that's what I'll be using on my food rotation. Another thing to note about this, the restoration food. So this one is on a different cooldown with the healing potions in the game and like the injection, right? So you can do the injection to give you 30% HP recovery and then use the pizza to give you an extra 20% HP recovery. So you can combine the two and get a massive heal using this food. Now let's go to the big one down here. So these are the elemental food. Now this one is a big buff. Now if you're a class that is doing neutral damage, you're probably looking for this food. And remember when I told you there's recipes to craft this food? There's a big difference between this one and the crafted one. For example, this electro food here, so the teriyaki chicken, right? Infuses your weapon into electro and it will give you 22 electro enhance. If you were to craft this electro one, once you get your recipe for exploration, let's find the exploration recipe. It's probably here. Now, using the recipe, you're gonna craft a macaroni food buff. It would be a chicken food buff. And the difference between the two, the macaroni one is not gonna give you the 22 extra enhance. Now, I may be wrong, but according to the description here, the macaroni only imbues your weapon into electro, right? And gives you like the electro buff on your nitro damage. However, if you buy the buff from Gurad for the electro damage, so the chicken, it will do the exact same thing with that and also grant you an extra 22 electro enhance. But the looks of it, you are better off buying the food here than crafting it, because the one you will craft is going to be weaker than this one. So keep that in mind. And this one as well, the moment you leave the dungeon, it's going to disappear. So only use this food when you're doing like an important piece of content. Do not use this food on very simple content. And the last one you can use is the smoked speed. This one will give you movement speed, a flat movement speed, 10%. This one is from the blessing category, so you can just have it for the sake of having it. I don't know, I just like having movement speed. So I usually just take this one as well, and because you can put it in a rotation and it will stack with the others. The last category of buffs I want to talk about are the legendary buffs. So the legendary buff is actually an elixir. This one, the shadow elixir, is actually this one. So you have your frost elixir for your cryo damage, your blazing elixir. So they are basically work like the food buffs. The catch is, for the elixir, it does not run out whenever you leave the dungeon. So it will be permanent for 60 minutes. So basically a 1 hour buff, and you can do basically all content with it, and you're not going to run out of, it's not going to run out when you leave the dungeon and stuff like that, right? So that's the point of elixirs. I do not know where to get this. To be honest, I don't even remember where I got the chest from. It's probably like from ranking rewards or something. I do not remember correctly. But yeah, you cannot craft this, and I don't think there's a merchant in the game that sells these elixirs. So yeah, this is kind of valuable if you have a use for this. So if you're a class that struggles with keeping up with their elemental infusions, so you might use these elixirs and get yourself that, right? Another place you can get some very cheap food buffs so you don't have to craft them is these vending machines. You can actually see all over town. They usually around there. They usually have food buffs for some gold. You can buy daily, character limit 1 per day, but you get like 3 per day, right? So this is like your HP recovery, really good buff. And then you do have your physical defense here. So you can buy this per day, it costs like 1500 gold, pretty cheap. So you can just come and clear him out, and then come and try and gain tomorrow, buy which one you want. This one gives you like 15 plus. This is a blue rarity one, like it's not the purple one like this one, right? Yeah, so this is another area you can get some free food buffs every day for your character. So now that you know all of the food buffs that you can get, so let me show you how I set up my wheel and how I set up all my buffs so that I can just do a quick rotation once I'm inside the dungeon or the raid, right? The first thing you want to set up is your healing. Like your healing is extremely important. You want to use your injection because the HP potions and small HP potions are all completely useless right now, so you don't want to be using that. You want to be using your injection. Your injection will give you a 30% flat heal. Your HP potion will only give you 15k HP. Everyone is like above 100k HP at the moment, so that's a very bad, negligible heal, right? So you want to have your special injection here. The second buff, I always put it really close to my healing, is the second restoration food. So this is my pizza. This is your oh shit button. Sometimes your injection is on cooldown and you're really low on HP. You can click your pizza and get a 20% plus 5k HP heal. It's like a small oh shit button, and you can actually save yourself from death. After that, let's go to the next category. So you want to choose one of the protection ones. So you want to choose something like the fruit skewers for your physical defense and magical defense, or increase your HP by like 8%. So this depends on you, depends on what you like. I usually like the physical defense. You can use the base HP. I think they're all the same. It depends what you feel like, and then put that in your radial as well. Now we're going to set up the assault food that we're going to be using. I mainly use just the physical attack. So here is where we're going to choose a physical attack, crit chance, or attack speed, or skill damage. So it is up to you which buff you want to be using. Physical attack and magic attack is highly considered the best option here. So you want to put your physical attack buff there from the assault category. On the second last category, this is where I put my blessing buff, my blessing category. This is the movement speed one. So the movement speed one will come here. There's only one in the movement speed in the blessing category. So it's just the movement speed. I don't think there's any other food you can put there. So I should have the movement speed there. And then you have one last slot. Now for this slot depends on your class, because this is where you're going to have your elemental buff, right? Your elemental buff. So whatever element your class is using the most, so pyro or cryo or umbro. So for me as a warlock, I'm going to be using umbro. Now I'm not really using the elemental buff to convert any damage. I'm using it to get the extra enhance. So the crafted one is completely useless for me, but the one I buy from the NPC should have this extra 22 umbro that I can use to increase my damage considerably, right? So that's how I end up with my radial. All of these foods are stackable. You're gonna have a 1, 2, 3, 4 food buff active on your character. Really good buffs really help your character. It can actually save you quite a lot. Now you're ready to go and destroy some bosses and everything, right? So before you do that, there's extra buffs you can get in the tavern. So if you go back to the Rhine City, like this teleporter in the middle, you should see the Golden Fleece Vintage. So this is basically the tavern. Get into the tavern and talk to the NPC. Now, if you are in a party, you can talk to Crazy over here, craft a beer party, and choose whatever buff you want here. If you are alone, don't worry, just sit on one of the chairs over here. If I'm gonna allow me to sit, yeah. One of the chairs, just press F and then choose whatever buff you want, and then confirm. It's gonna cost very little gold and you're gonna get a nice, beautiful buff. Now this is a 30-minute buff. One good thing about this buff is it persists between dungeons. You do not lose this buff. You're going to have it next to your character name. Down there, you're gonna see the Artisan Guild. The Shadow Elixir is, I used this one just for demonstration purposes. This is the elixir. It also persists between dungeons. It's a long duration, it's a 1-hour elixir. So if you are a class that needs the conversion, if you have the elixir, you can spend it, but they are pretty rare. So yeah, you wanna be a little disciplined when you're using these buffs, right? So to demonstrate to you how the full buff rotation will look like, I'm going to assume you are doing something like Hex Chest Raid. So you want to get your buff on the Golden Fleece, your elixir if you need it, if you have it, I guess. And then you're gonna go into your Hex Raid. I'm just gonna go into a Critical Conquest just for demonstration purposes. Once you are in the dungeon, the raid, whatever you want to use the food buffs, just hold your R. It's R on keyboard. I'm not sure about PS and the mobile. So you hold R. So you're gonna be using 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is the top right is my restoration one. I only use that when I'm like low HP. So I'm gonna use this. So the first one, the second one, the third one, and the fourth one. You will see they all go in a 1-minute cooldown, right? But on the top right, I do have all the buffs active. Sorry, I don't want to kill this boss. It's wailing on me. So you see, now I have all the full buffs. I have my base HP. I do have my elemental one and giving me overall damage. I have my physical attack, and then I have my movement speed. All of these are stackable. See, all the 4 food buffs. Now, if I'm taking a lot of damage like this and I've already used my injection, my oh shit moment, I can hold my R and then I can use my restoration food. That is the idea behind that. So I hope that helped you guys and you understand how to buff up so that when you do your raids and stuff, you can get some extra power. These buffs are actually pretty substantial. You're gonna get like a lot of damage from them. So yeah, and remember, the moment you finish the raid or dungeon, the full buffs are gonna disappear, right? It's a 30-minute buff, but the moment you clear your dungeon and you leave, they are gonna disappear. So keep that in mind. You don't want to do this, use these buffs on simple things like Critical Conquest and stuff, right? So yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I think I'll see you guys on the next video that I post. Let me kill this, and I hope I get insignia. Come on, give me an insignia. I made a video for you guys. Developers. Yeah, I got nothing. I have not gotten an insignia this entire game since I started. Thanks guys for watching. I guess I'll see you guys on the next one. Like and subscribe the video. Subscribe to the video. Subscribe to the channel.